I'm West Indian household, my brother. So at the end of the day, it's like, this is dinner. If you don't like that dinner, you're gonna get it for breakfast.
Welcome to Rap Dads, man.
No, man, thanks for having me, dog.
I have a curiosity, if you will.
Yeah.
You're an MC.
Yeah.
You're a chef.
Yeah.
Does hip hop and food have a relationship to you?
It's the creative process, and it's a different form of expression. That one is like more immediate and obvious in the storytelling because you can listen to the words, hear the chords, and like it's very visceral, physiological, right? Whereas the food, I could tell food stories, but if by adding different ingredients or different presentation styles, but you have to kind of understand what the baseline of that thing is. If I'm telling you a food story that includes like some Syrian cuisine or some Thai cuisine that's blending with something else and how those worlds are bridging together. Now, it's also visceral because food is so primal, right? And physiological, so it's primal. So those two things connect in that way as well,
Dope.
Yeah.
Tell us about your daughters. 4 girls. What are their ages, names, things like that?
They're 16, 15, 12, 10. They're into totally different things.
Yes.
One is like into theater and memorizing songs. Like they know Hamilton verbatim, Phantom of the Opera verbatim. Like it's crazy. Like so many musicals. Another one is into sports and volleyball. Another one is into, I think she want to be an actor or a singer when she grows up.
Okay.
And then I have another one who's like really into welding and fabricating things and building and doing AutoCAD and
Wow.
Yeah.
Yo, you weren't lying there completely.
Completely that always
beautiful.
fascinates me because they came under the same house,
right?
The same rules, but it just shows you personalities.
Yeah.
Just comes with the package.
For
right?
sure. For sure. Where were you in your life when you became a father? What was going on?
I moved in with my then girlfriend we just moved into apartment together because she had kind of moved into my apartment. And we're like, okay, let's do this, go into this apartment. And I was just in the middle of building one of my first restaurants in Toronto.
And how many are you up to now?
At one point, there was like 7. Now I have one at the airport in Toronto. It is amazing.
Nice, good. There you go.
It's all blessed, So yeah, I was building this first really seminal restaurant for me, and then a baby was coming along, so it was just building all the things, and then another baby with another restaurant, and another baby with another TV show, and another restaurant, and so it's just been like a crazy whirlwind, man.
How would you say fatherhood impacted you personally? Because at the moment when you became a father, you were an entrepreneur, you were an artist, you were, young, but it was more just you and your lady. And here comes this child. So how did it make an impact on your life?
I could probably say that if I didn't have kids, I would be really narcissistic.
That part.
Well, think about it. Like, I'm an artist. I do what I want, how I want, when I want. I'm making restaurant. I make the recipe how I want to do it. I got a staff of like a whole bunch of people around doing stuff. It's very easy to get trapped into that.
Right.
Very, very easily. Like, it's dangerous. It's a dangerous thing, actually.
Yeah.
And then the kid comes along and you have to cater to what they need. When they cry and you get your ass up, go deal with this baby and they need food and they need this. And as much I was doing a lot of stuff when I'm around, I'm very hands-on, So it really is a humbling experience, and it forces you to remove your narcissism and like place it somewhere else and change your priorities.
Sure.
And contextualize your life as a unit.
Word.
In a really solid way. So
Word.
I would say that's the most dynamic thing.
One thing that I've known is that the kitchen, there's a hierarchy to it. There's a flow to it. Mm-hmm. There's a team. Mm-hmm. Do you run your household like you run your kitchen? Is there
Let's
similarities?
My wife run the household.
Talk about it.
She run the household.
Not trying to get you in trouble, bro.
Yeah, no, it's all good. She run the house, so she got it all under control, schedule, this, that. She tell me, yo, what's up today? You can go pick up this one. And like, when I want them around doing stuff. So how do I prioritize everything?
Yeah. So what's the flow like in the crib?
There's no flow, man. It changes every day. Like,
right.
I don't have like a regular job where 9 o'clock I leave and then I come back at 5. Every day is different. I might be in Australia for 3 days. So everything is constantly changing. It's very malleable, extremely dynamic, and we just go with the flow. And I think that's like a good lesson in life. Life is adaptation is the key to survival, right?
Absolutely.
So we live in a world of adaptation because the schedule is dynamic every single day, and all of the things are shifting constantly. So we live in that space constantly. That's why I love to celebrate chaos.
I know personally I am not a chef whatsoever.
You can't cook nothing?
I can't cook anything.
Nothing. Zero. Nothing. Rice, nothing.
No, I have a rice cooker.
Okay, that's
so it's hard not to mess that up.
Yeah, that's half points.
But I do notice, like, when I was growing up, I was, eating whatever my parents made. My kids, though, had the bougiest palate of all time. Like, if you ask them what they want to eat, they want to go out to a restaurant and have something that for me would be like, when I graduated college, that was the meal I had. They want that on Thursday. Yeah. What do your kids, how do you feed? You're a chef. Their level got to be even crazier.
Yeah, we were eating the other day and my daughter goes, this would be really good with some garlic oil.
See?
And we're like, oh man, we done spoiled it. But making garlic oil is really easy, so it's not even bougie. It's like take the end of garlic, the end of the oil, so it's actually just being like efficient.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like real talk, right? But she came and spit it, and every now and then they'll say stuff like that. It's like, oh, this would be good with some kimchi or like.
That's amazing.
Like we introduced the world to them. Like one thing we used to do when they were really young, and they first introducing them to foods, is every week we go to the grocery store and buy one new thing that we never ever bought before. So it might be like coconut chips. It may be sumac. It may be dried rosemary. Like just whatever, right?
Right.
And we just introduce that into the household that week. And so, sometimes this one likes it, sometimes they don't like it. But what we found is somebody say, oh, I don't like coconut. And then we'll be like, okay, well, let's try coconut water. And they're like, oh, I like coconut water, but I don't like coconut chips.
Right.
But I don't like raw. And so it's like, okay, so it's not that you don't like coconut. You may not like it dried in this way with this thing. But then you introduce them to a new ingredient in their palate that can come down the road. And then 3 months later, you're showing them coconut milk in a curry. And they're like, oh, I do like that liquid coconut. And then so they start to piece together a whole ecosystem in their palate, right?
Word. You have any picky eaters in your crib?
Yeah, there's, everybody has, this is natural, this is life, right? Everybody got things that they like or don't like, but I'm West Indian household, my brother, so at the end of the day, it's like, this is dinner.
I love that.
If you don't like that dinner, you're going to get it for breakfast. This is how I'm not. I talk to other parents around me, and they're like, "Oh, we cook 4 dinners." I'm like, "Who has time for this shit?" Like, I don't know how y'all have time for that. That's madness.
Ridiculous, man. This interview ain't over yet, but I wanted to let you know that this is just a piece of a longer conversation you can check out on the Rap Dad Show podcast on all platforms. So you said by the time you were 3 years old, you knew you wanted to cook. You knew you wanted to be a chef. You knew that food was your passion. So clearly you grew up in an environment that, that supported that and, nurtured that. What are you doing in your household that nurtures, your future Broadway star, your future athlete, I don't know how you support someone who welds things, but, how do you how do you do that?
Through their school, yeah. So how do we do that? We were always really focused at a young age. Okay. Cooking is one of the most fundamental skills that everybody should know by the time they leave home, right? It just is fundamental. And it's shocking how many people don't know how to cook a thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's really shocking, right? Like you should know how to balance the home books and you should know how to cook. That's the two things you should come out of school with,
So
right?
survival. I mean,
the most rudimentary survival. So we work really hard on just teaching them to cook. If you want biscuits today, okay, come, you're going to learn how to make biscuits, right? And I show them. Now I got like the two youngest ones. It's like, oh, you want biscuits? Okay, here's the recipe. Go make the biscuits. And now they know how to do that. And so gradually over the years and years of doing that, their repertoire and their skill set goes through the roof. So now they can go through the fridge and look at leftovers and go, oh, I could use that piece, put that with that, and then make up their own things. Right? Just because they've had that from ground zero. Because again, man, we want them to leave the house at the very basics of being able to cook for themselves. And right now, even the youngest one could do that.
Amazing. All right, we're about to play a game.
Okay.
Game is called First and Last.
Okay.
Just to get to know you a little better. First memory of fatherhood.
First memory of fatherhood was when my wife told me that that she was pregnant. We were pregnant. Just the shock. Like there's just a moment of real shock, and she's sat there, and I'm like, we're about to go do laundry, and I just said, let's go get the laundry. It was just so shocking. Because, the first baby is the one that transforms your entire existence, right?
Absolutely.
Everything. And I find the next one is going from 3 to 4, because at 3 to 4, the car doesn't work anymore. The house doesn't work anymore. You need more. The infrastructure has to change around it.
Right.
So from 0 to 1 is the most shocking. For us, the next most shocking was for sure 3 to 4.
Man, okay. Last time you had to discipline one of your daughters. Why and how did you discipline them?
Like just the other day is Halloween, right? And we were behind on planning for getting pumpkins. They want to carve pumpkins. And we're behind on the pumpkins. And my daughter was saying, are we going to carve things this year? And I'm like, I don't think we can do it this year because I got to catch a plane in the morning. Like, this is just, I got to catch a plane in the morning. It's late now. I'm just taking this one from volleyball. Like, I don't think that's going to happen this year.
Right.
So she had a little bit of meltdown about it. And at the end of the day, it's like, sometimes life just don't work the way you want it.
Facts.
To work. And I went out, I was like, okay, my wife made me feel bad. So I'm going to go out and look for pumpkins. But all the pumpkins were sold out. I went to 2-3 different stores, right? And I'm like, well, sometimes it just don't work out the way you want.
Right.
And this is like a teaching moment, and
Absolutely.
This is what it is. This is how life goes, So I don't know if discipline was the word, but there's always those moments that happen that you just kind of lean into, and sometimes it's a bigger deal than others, but you take it as it is, man.
First concert you ever took one of your daughters to?
I just took my 16-year-old to Wu-Tang and Nas in Toronto. And some parent the other day was like, weren't you afraid? Like, it's Wu-Tang and Nas. I'm like, she's 16.
Talk about it.
Like, when I was 16, I was doing things like 14, 13, 16, she knows. She see everything. She listening to all the music. She likes 90s hip-hop. So she been listening to Biggie. That's her joint. The Roots, off the wall Michael Jackson. She likes real music. What I mean?
That's good parenting, in my opinion.
I would agree. I'm just saying. Right? But we took her to Wu-Tang and Nas, man. She loved it, dog.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. We had a great moment, man.
Last meal you cooked for your daughters?
And I've never cooked this before. I made potato skins. You know what that is?
Yeah, of course.
I haven't had potato skins in 20 years.
Word.
Right?
But how did you do it? Because I'm thinking of the TGI Fridays potato skins.
Okay, so what I did is I take the potato, just straight up. I put it in the oven for 45 minutes. So it's cooked really well. Russet potatoes, baking potatoes, right?
Right.
Then I cut off the top quarter, scoop it out, let it cool, right? Then I took half of those potatoes, and then I took some ground beef, and I sauteed ground beef with some onions, garlic, fresh sage, some herbs, some chili, some cumin, blah, 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 blah. I did all that, put some Parmesan cheese in there, mixed that all up. Then I took that ground beef and mixed it with the half of the potatoes.
Ooh.
And then I put that back on the inside of that joint. I finished it up with more Parmesan cheese on top. And it was stupid, bro.
On the next episode of the Rap Dads Show.
Yeah, I grew up in the South Bronx. Everything is confrontational. Everything, bro.
That should be on the plaque. When you enter the Bronx, it should say, "Welcome to the Bronx." Everything is confrontational.
Everything is confrontational.